It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Good afternoon, everybody. Looks like we got a few people on board. Hey, I'm going to have an interview that I had last night with the lads from Habs Digest, Josh Goose and Jesse Poirier. Great kids. They're doing a fantastic job with their YouTube channel. You know, hey, as far as I'm concerned, Habs fans are Habs fans. We're one big community. I don't consider them competitors. I consider them brothers, and they're great kids. They really are. And hey, Josh is from Newfoundland. How can you dislike a Newfie, right? No, I talked to Josh when I first started up and said, we're gonna have to arrange something. Unfortunately, he wanted both him and Jesse on at the same time because he considers them to be a team. And the only issue with it was getting it scheduled right, because Jesse lives in Africa, not your average Habs podcaster, but we got it arranged, and I think you'll really enjoy the interview. I as I say, I have on Laine Potvin all the time, who has Habs Unfiltered podcast, and Etienne Lepage, who has a great YouTube channel. The more the merrier, right? We're like, I don't consider us to be competitors. I consider us to be a brethren, a Habs fan community. So, and I think Red Green probably really said it best. I think
I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
Okay, that didn't go as smooth as I thought.
Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together, right? Anyway, that was a new warning on the chat feature. What I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ken. Anyway, a warning, and unposse when worlds collide. I know it's hey, there's a lot of Habs fans in Newfoundland. Yeah, I bet, eh? Listen, they're and as I say, great guys. Got the interview here. I'm gonna play it in a minute. I'll join the live chat here along with, the best live chat, Habs live chat that there is on the planet, and weigh in on what people are saying. If you got questions, please give them to me. Dobush getting the start tonight. Haven't heard yet if Laine is coming in or if there's any changes. I'll try to find that out at the end of our conversation, and rejoin, answer the best live chat stuff. Hey, if you're new, if you're watching on X or whatever, join us on the YouTube channel. Give us your thoughts, and I'll promise, I especially make a point of new people to the channel of getting answering their comments and putting them up, because hey, what we are here is one big family as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Colorado 4-5-1 in their last, or 4-5-2 in their last 11. After I think only losing 2 in the first 40 plus games. Come back down to earth. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully that doesn't end tonight. Hopefully the skid continues and the Habs can pull one out. But yeah, they're playing against this team, the Quebec Nordiques, tonight. Oh no, right? That's right. They're playing Colorado, who are going to be wearing Quebec Nordique jerseys. The Habs all time versus the Nordiques, by the way, a good winning record. So let's hope, let's hope that continues, right? That I think I've got it here somewhere. all time, 79, 53, 12 all time versus the Nordiques. So let's hope that becomes 80 after tonight. All right, I'm gonna get this interview all lined up here. As I say, folks, I'll be on the live chat, so you're more than welcome to join us and ask questions.
It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Hello, everyone. I am joined here today by the two fellas that are running just it's a fantastic YouTube channel called Habs Digest. I've got along with me here today Josh Goose. You ever get people saying Josh Gosh?
Yes. And Goose and Gossy and everything under the sun, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I was going to call you Gossy, but I'm glad you corrected it and said it's Goss. Silly Goose Goss and Jesse Poirier. Welcome, guys. I'm glad we could finally get you on HabsCast for a Habs chat.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I know, Jesse. We've talked about this a lot. We've watched a lot of your stuff, Grant, and I mean, Jesse. Like, I'm thrilled about this. I know you are too.
Yeah, I am. And again, we just got to give some love on that Kapanen prediction once again here. Grant McCagg just says so appreciative of all the work that you've done and how you're just really helping this Habs community just in so many ways. Thank you for having us on the show here today.
Oh, hey, no problem. Yeah, well, Cappy's been a little quiet lately. I've been starting. I think you think he's maybe hit a bit of he's never played like more than 50 games, I don't think, in a season before this year. Looks like he maybe ran out of gas a bit there. I almost wish he was getting a break during the Olympics because he looks like he's low on energy. What do you think, Josh?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think he at times he does. I think that line is just though. I think it's easy to think that about any individual player when they're young, but I think it's just going to be reps, right? Again, like very shortly into his NHL career, and we've seen so many flashes of greatness. It could just be a cold streak. Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's just, I don't know, that line. Teams have sort of figured it out a bit at 5v5. I don't know, Jesse. I think fatigue could be setting in. Definitely a real thing, that NHL grind. But I actually really anticipate him coming back after the Olympics, arguably even stronger. That's what I would hope to see.
It's a factor, and it's amazing how Laine Hudson's been able to play so well, adjusting to the much longer schedule than in the NCAA. And obviously, Kapanen's going through the same thing, and we're seeing those opportunities. It's a fair point you're making, Grant, because we saw that first period last night, he had such a good chance of scoring, and we normally see him just kind of finish that really quick. That being said, like, he's still looking dangerous. He's still making good decisions with the puck, and I'm just blown away because I keep just expecting like the wheels to fall off and him not to be as good as we thought. And Josh and Grant, like, the more that I see him play, the more I'm feeling the opposite. Like, okay, no, this isn't just like a fluky rookie season. Like, this guy's gonna be able to continue it because, like, I see the way he plays offensively, looking dangerous almost every single game. He's getting scoring opportunities, looking so good defensively. Like, he has to be like one of our most underrated prospects. Like, I'd almost be shocked if we had like Alexander Zarovsky, one of our best prospects, come and have a better year than Oliver Kapanen's having this year. I think we're almost not giving him enough love for what he's doing. I think that he can carry it through the rest of the season, but for sure, maybe again, just a little bit of a break, even though he's going to play some hockey over the Olympics, could maybe help him as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's on pace for about 25 goals. Very few rookie centers score 25 goals in a year. Like, and especially ones that also are on the penalty kill regularly. Like, I think the last two, there's like two a decade basically that do that. So, hey, do you think the second line is in a little bit of a funk right now, but they've been so good together. I expect them to stay as a trio. Do you think Laine, Josh, do you think that Laine is going to be brought in to have a look on the top line?
Jesse, I know we've had a few conversations about this. I I think he will get a look. I just think because I don't think Texier, simply put, Texier is not the long-term solution there. As great as he's been, and the advanced analytics paint that line in an incredible light of 5v5. But they tried Kirby. Again, small sample from a guy returning from injury. Yeah, the analytics weren't great, but too small a sample to really glean anything. And we know he's had success with them before. Laine is a big body. He doesn't bring what Doc and Slav really did to that line in terms of winning puck battles, in terms of distributing to kind of fill in that supporter role alongside Suzuki and Caulfield. Laine has the ability to drive his own offense, so maybe it could, I know he doesn't fit that profile that we're thinking, but Jesse, at least when I'm thinking of it, having another guy that can drive the offense when he's on. Again, I know the 5v5 numbers are not good, and I'm not expecting him to do this right away, but I think in an ideal situation, which we probably won't get if we're being honest with ourselves, Laine driving the offense to take a bit of pressure off Suzuki and Caulfield might even unlock that line's potential to just continue to dominate teams even more. But maybe I'm being a bit too optimistic. I do think, though, Marty's going to give it a shot at least once. I don't know. What do you think, Jesse? We talked about this recently.
Speaking of Marty, he said something very telling on this issue recently when asked about Patrick Laine and what he could offer to this lineup. Martin St. Louis said, well, we know he's a really good shot threat on the power play, and then refused to say anything else afterwards, which was really telling of where Marty kind of feels about Laine. And again, kind of like Caulfield a couple of years ago, where essentially he was a shot threat on the PP, but not really contributing 5v5 in other ways. We found a way to be able to do that with Caulfield. We know we love to be optimistic, Josh, but I have a hard world envisioning where Patrick Laine somehow just completely kind of figures it out, starts becoming like that defensive dynamo, forechecking, knowing how important that is to the makeup and identity of this team. Maybe if the forecheck wasn't so important, and really all areas of the ice and where we're at in the rebuild and higher standards, that maybe Patrick Laine could kind of slide in there. But I just think with the expectations right now, he could get a look, but I'd almost be shocked to see him in a game lineup in that spot.
You think Texier is a diligent forechecker, do you, Jesse? Or
I think he plays with pizzazz. And even last night where you see him, he's kind of chipping, even after they score and giving a shot kind of to the guy, it just shows the edge that Texier plays with. Patrick Laine's never going to be knocking a guy after a goal scored or getting physical like that. For me, that tells me something about Texier. He's not the biggest forechecker, but he plays with an edge. And does he ever make decisions quickly? He's just very skilled and a very good passer. Texier, underrated for his passing abilities. Not only is it very accurate, he just gets rid of it quickly. When you're playing with guys like Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, he gets the memo. He is not the star of that show. It's to facilitate them, get the puck to them, and provide a little bit of chippiness. And I think just playing with that edge, just in general, is something I want to see going into a rematch against the Sabres, some of those games coming up. If we can dial in that physical aspect, yes, I think Jack I should be in that lineup as well for that game. Bringing those components, I think that's the only way that you're winning a game against some of these tough Atlantic oppositions right now.
And I'm going to take something you just said there, because I like, it's very interesting when you say about Texier's playmaking, because I think it was him that passed to Caulfield on that 2-on-1 where Schmid made another insane, one of his 18 incredible saves last night, right before Caulfield got the goal. Texier's made some great passes. And again, what did we like from Slav when he was on that line? He wasn't using his shooting threat nearly as much, but he would win battles along the boards and throw these incredible passes out in front. That's kind of what that top line needs. So as much as I do think Laine will get a look on the top line, and I sort of explained what I think the best case scenario would look like, I do agree with you that I don't think he's a long-term solution. I don't actually think in important games he's going to be there, because not that he's a horrible playmaker. He's had some decent seasons with playmaking, but that's not what his game is designed to do. I think at this point, especially after injuries, you got a few games left. I think Texier's a fine fit for now. I still think Slav ultimately, I don't know, maybe Slav can have his own line, but I can't help but wonder, once the rest of this team fills in the way we wanted to be a true contender, I feel like there is definitely a world where Slav just reclaims his spot on that top line while maintaining that play driving ability that he's shown on the second.
Well, I don't think it's etched in stone that he's with those two guys forever. Yeah. I don't find Texier has an edge. I don't know, Jesse. I guess we'll disagree on that. And as far as playmaking goes, Laine's a 30 assist per season playmaker for his career, which puts him second on the Canadians, second best to Suzuki among all forwards. I don't think Texier's a 30 assist a season guy, no matter what line he's on. So I think Laine's every bit as good a playmaker and probably just as much of an edge as Texier, who I don't think has an edge. So we'll disagree on that. But hey, maybe Texier stays on that line. He got a point last night. I found that for the last few games, he's been a little bit quiet. I don't know. I don't find him to be overly physical. And Laine, when he's competing, when he does play with an edge, like a Texier edge, I guess you could say, which isn't a huge amount of edge, but a bit of edge. He's a big boy, right? And he can hit hard. I think he's motivated because, hey, you're making close to $9 million and you're not going to be making that anymore in a couple of months. There's motivation there to, play like Dvorak did at the end of last year, the way Jake Evans did at the end of last year, and it hasn't been playing so far this year, I don't think. There's motivation to get another NHL contract, right? So I think he should be given a look on the top line. He's never gotten that very often in his NHL career. Like in Winnipeg, it was Stastny and Ehlers second line mostly. Columbus, he played with Roslovic a lot and wasn't really on the top line all that much. I'd like to see him on a top line, especially with a center that's as good all around as Suzuki, who can kind of, back him up a bit if he's gets a little careless with his play, right? Or Suzuki's one of the best two-way centers in the league, I think. Mm-hmm. So, personally, I'd like to see him get a look on the top line. But what do you think, Jesse? I'll pass that back to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the Montreal Canadiens, essentially what they've shown so far this year here is that they're going to win at least one round in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. And I believe that Patrik Laine will be a huge factor in being able to make that happen. I think he can come in on that PP2, be a difference maker right away. And the position I've maintained is that if he helps us to at least even just win one series in the playoffs, if you're Kent Hughes, you're just like, okay, we kind of broke even. It didn't work perfectly, that experiment. I don't see it quite necessarily being resigned, even though he loves Montreal. I'd love and I wait for this workout. This is why this injury pains me so much, Grant, because I wanted Patrik Laine to work out so much with the Habs, but you just see the guys coming in and then the contract and then his play style and the top six that we have right now and even just our style of play, I would say. So again, I think that he's going to come in. He could be a difference maker. And if he does that, just how he helped us get into the playoffs, I think this year is going to be a difference of he's now going to allow us to get further in the playoffs, really that Habs 2.0 version. And he's going to be a big part of that. Now, if we sign a 1-year kind of prove it deal because he loves Montreal that much and how does it work? I'm more than willing to look at that and explore if we can't figure out a way. It's just, again, we know the MO with them, with the injuries, with playing the 5v5, and I've wanted to believe that he could shake that. It's just we haven't seen anything to tell us that it's going to be something different, so I don't feel comfortable offering anything more than a year. That being said, I think that he can help us in this postseason, and that's what's really immediate, and that's what matters for this Habs team right now.
There's so much about him, You go ahead. Sorry. I got a lot of thoughts, Grant. Sorry. I was just going to expand on this power play. I'm expecting him to come in. I don't know if it'll be against Colorado, but I think he'll get some action before the Olympic break, I believe. Can Finland still add him to the Olympic team? Do you know that? Do they still have? I was wondering that. I imagine. I feel like they probably can't just take him over someone else. I wonder if there's an injury, maybe they could do an injury replacement. I don't know. Maybe he's on the short list.
Yeah.
But I would imagine they just didn't bring him. Although, couldn't they have just said, "Yeah, join the team, but then we'll get an injury replacement for you if you're not healthy"? I don't know. Anyway, there's maybe politics behind that. Probably not. It's probably just injury related. But I actually don't really know.
Yeah, I don't they don't have a spare spot that they've left open or anything like that I know of. I got thinking if he's back before. And if there is an injury, certainly if there is an injury, I think he could still potentially play in the Olympics, right?
I'd hope so. It'd be crazy. Like he would probably be a top 6 player for them. I mean, worst case, like a third liner, but like almost certainly top 6 first power play. Like the dude's still one of the best shots in the NHL on any given night. You could argue he has the best one-timer in the NHL. I mean, Ovechkin, obviously he's older, but it's still Ovechkin. But like, like we've seen the clips from him. Like when he's on, and in an Olympic setting. Now I was going to say bigger ice, but we know what's going on with that. But still, like I don't know. I'm expecting him to do some big things, but I think Finland would love to have him if there's any world they could do it. I guess only time will tell, because I'm gonna be honest, that's not something I'm super well versed on.
Yeah. Well, the power play here, so he gets on. Does he get on the first power play? You were saying power play 2. Demidov's starting to drive me a little crazy with never shooting the puck when he gets past it, when he should be taking the one-timer there. He's got an awesome one-timer. We've seen him score. I saw him score a lot of them in the KHL, MHL. Here in the NHL, when he does take it, if his stick doesn't break, I just wonder if they, last year when Laine came up, he scored like 11 goals, power play goals in his first 10 games, I think it was. Like it was nuts. It'd be hard to put him on the second power play. I think they might put Demidov on the second power play to get a playmaker on there with Bolduc, who scored a lot of goals last year, but doesn't have anybody to set him up, it seems like, on that second power play. I think it's important for them to get that second power play going too, because they've scored 1 goal this year, the second power play. Who you think, Josh, you think he goes on the second power play if and when he gets in the lineup?
I think at least to start, I would imagine. And again, it's part of the reason why I don't also necessarily think he'll be top line right away. Then again, like I was like, well, they're easing Gooley back in. Then maybe they'll ease Doc back. Nope. Just first line right away. So like maybe not. Yeah. But I wonder this, you did mention obviously his insane production on the PP1 last year. Like he was up there, was top 5 or at the very least top 10 NHL in power play goals. I think it was top 5 despite having like 25 fewer games than everyone else near him. But come playoff time, I know he ended up nursing an injury, so I don't know if that was there before he came out of the lineup or not. Everyone was like, okay, get him off the power play. The power play is just predictable. And what happened? Well, Demidov went up there and it started to work, right? But I wonder this, and I kind of haven't really brought this up yet, I don't think, but the Habs power play this year, we're not utilizing Caulfield in that one-timer spot nearly as much as we used to. And part of the reason that the power play felt stagnant, I thought at times last year, was like, well, it's either Caulfield or Laine. Whoever's in that one-time spot is going to get the puck. Haha. But this year, I feel like we've had a lot of different looks on the power play. Like Caulfield's taken a few of those one-time. A couple games ago, he took one, right, in that hat trick. Now it wasn't even really from the hash marks. It was basically a one-timer from the goal line. But with the way the power play is set up now, I actually think it could be interesting to have Laine on the PP1 to give it a bit of a different look from what we've been doing lately. And I have a hard time demoting anyone. I don't like the word demotion. Marty St. Louis doesn't either. Like, for sending someone down to PP2, but I have to imagine a guy like Brendan Gallagher's might come off the second power play. I don't know. Again, at this point, I know there have been some fans calling for that, but like you insert Laine, you take out Gallagher, you scramble the units. I think no matter what you do, I think you'll end up with something like if you have Demidov, Laine, and Dobson on the PP2 or something. I don't know. I think it could work, or even like Bolduc, Laine, Dobson, or Bolduc on the PP1, and then you put Demidov, Laine, Dobson on the second. I don't know. I imagine, to take the coward's way out, I think we'll see both. I think we will see Laine on the PP1. Marty has not been afraid to change it. Remember that one game where we just, what was it? It was Texier and Dobson, I think, out there with the first unit. We scored like off the face-off. And so Marty's willing to do stuff like that. Right. And I think we'll see it. It's not a matter of if. I think it is just a matter of when and who he's out there with.
And with Dobson, it was all about getting the shot threat, right? Like on that option. Yeah. That is a possibility. That being said, if we look at PP1, it's top 10 in the NHL. I don't know if that's the one that we need to be working on. It's really PP2 that needs a whole lot of love insert a search like Patrick Laine.
Absolutely.
And I think that once he starts lining it up, he kind of starts the conversation, obviously through media, through fans, and he could end up on PP1 before we know it around a playoff situation. I would love if he could get in there for the Olympics, play a couple games, because that would help to get the rust off for the rest of the season here for the Montreal Canadiens. I have to feel like there still is an opening, judging by the other Olympic rosters. There is still spots for those Olympic replacements. So again, this is going to be something very interesting to monitor going forward. But again, Patrick Laine, we know very much a situation. One thing about him, he's going to score goals on the PP2. That's all he really needs. It's just an opportunity and a shot on the power play, and Patrick Laine can take care of the rest. And in fact, that's what I want to see. I want to see him come out. Like, I don't want his tenure with the Montreal Canadiens to end kind of fizzle out here. Like, I want him to go out with a bang, like smashing pucks to the back of the net, like we know we can, because he's really a dynamic player. And again, like, we've seen how we can benefit this team so much. Like, even though it hasn't went perfectly, he's been a huge X factor for this team. And now throwing somebody into your lineup where, again, every time that you have a power play, we don't just have one amazing unit, you then throw a second power play unit as well. Other teams, they're going to be on their heels playing against us, not wanting to take any penalties, knowing how we can execute on that.
Yeah. I just, the issue I have with Laine on the second power play is there's no real playmaker. Like, Bolduc's not a playmaker, I don't think. Texier, I don't consider to be on the power play, at least. I haven't seen him set up a lot of plays. Cappy's not a real power play playmaker. He's more of a shooter. So is Bolduc. Like, they can both shoot, but nobody's getting them the puck, you know? And Dobson's not a real playmaker either. So if Demidov's on that line, I think he's a guy that can get the pucks to Bolduc, Kapanen, Dobson to get some goals. And then Laine's replacing Demi on the top unit. But, they might put Laine with, and then you got three guys that are more shooters than passers. And then I guess you got to hope that Doc, becomes a late playmaker on the second power play. He can make passes, but I just don't see a playmaker with Laine on the second unit that really to get these shooters. You got three good shooters or four and no real playmaker. But I mean, none of them are poor playmakers. Just as long as they get Gallagher off this power play, I don't really care. I love Gally. I love everything he's done for this team, but I that ship has sailed as far as him being on a power play, I think. So you guys, Habs Digest is taken off. It's crazy popular. You guys are high energy. Have you approached Adderall for a sponsorship, or
Don't need it.
no? Oh no, I'm not saying you could just get the sponsorship. You wouldn't. No, you definitely don't need it. Jesse, you're in Africa now. I consider you the most popular Habs podcaster in Africa. Do you get stopped on the streets? Jesse Poirier from Habs Digest. You ever get that when you're out on the?
More in the online world, and sometimes from some places where I don't expect as much. That's more where it's kind of coming from right now. Got to say, appreciate the support. And yeah, and again, it's for the love of the team that we really do this. I've been living abroad for the last 5 years, but it's really by doing this podcast, such a wonderful gentleman like Josh Goose, that really it allows me to be connected to back home, which is so amazing. Of course, I'm working on a different schedule. I do work on Eastern Standard Time Zone. So of course, these games are finishing late for me and everything else, but we obviously love this team so much that it's really no sweat off our back. We obviously love and appreciate this team. And obviously we're looking forward to when we're coming back to Canada, being able to do some live shows together. Again, maybe we'd love to be able to meet with you, Grant, in person as well. But it's sometimes going with the flow, right? In life, it brings us to some places we never quite expect. And you know what? But we wouldn't change it for the world.
And Josh, you're on the Rock, Newfoundland.
Yes, sir.
It's it gets pretty late there when you got to watch a game that's on the West Coast, I guess, right? You've got to adjust your work clock too there. Have you been out to any regiment games? The new team in the Q?
Well, thank you for shouting him out. Yes, I have. My parents actually have season tickets. I've been to a couple games. I mean, Justin LaRose, one-time Habs prospect camp invitee, he was leading the queue in scoring for a long while this season. Our captain of the regiment. Actually, I thought I had my baseball hat here. I know it's in my bag. I'm not going to go get it, but no, I mean, it's fun to watch some Q games. You can see some special players, some guys who are going to make a difference at the NHL level. But yeah, I mean, living on the Rock. I mean, born and raised here in St. John's. It does get late. I mean, sometimes those West Coast games, we don't stay up for them. Like, we'll just have something ready to go for the next day or a video earlier. And because, it is a balance, right? I can't stay up for everything. I mean, me and Jesse each have this is just an evening kind of thing, right? We have our own things during the day. But we make it work. And again, working with him as well, the fact that he's changing his schedule as much as he is, working on at insane times a day to make this work. I mean, look, if we both weren't ready to put in all the effort it takes to make this happen, we'd be nowhere. So, I mean, I'll take the compliment and give one right back, because working with Jesse, it just makes it easy, right? To just have two people who are ready, driven to do this every day. So, but all over the world, right? We got fans from everywhere. Neither of us here in Montreal, although I was in Quebec City for a couple of years. It's been an incredible amount of fun, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, you guys have really, hit the jackpot here. It's taken off, and I mean, I wish you nothing but the best in the future with this. I mean, big news today, the goaltending change. I was doing a podcast with Simon Boisvert, and we just finished up, and I get the alert on my phone that they had relieved Eric Raymond of his duties today. I don't know if you guys have been maybe suggesting it. I know I have for a couple of months that maybe they should be flipping the two coaches, and they went one further and just relieved, fired Eric Raymond. But it just doesn't seem like whatever he's been trying to get through to Monty in particular has been working this year. He's clearly struggled. Josh, do you think, you either get rid of a player or you fire a coach sometimes when things aren't working? In this instance, they fired the coach. So it tells me that they still want Monty to be the starter, and they want him to get straightened out. And they're bringing up the coach from Laval to do that. What do you think?
I mean, Jeff Gorton revealed an awful lot when he spoke today, right? And there's things about the contract was coming up anyway, and also we wanted Marco Marciano to have a chance in the NHL because other NHL teams were kind of without him directly saying it, there were definitely teams that were ready to poach him, right? Because of the success he's had in Laval. So I think it's multifaceted, right? Yes, it is very much, you're not getting it done with our goalies. I understand Eric Raymond has had some incredible success with Monty being that waiver pickup to being a starter in the NHL, the Team Canada. You can't ignore that, but you also can't ignore the team save percentage this year. You can't ignore the fact that, as much as maybe a small sample, the people who worked with Marco Marciano and then came back to the NHL, that stretch with Monty, great, and then immediately fell off. And Dobesh, great start to the season. And so it's Fowler, great, and then no, maybe not so. So there's trends here. I mean, for me, look, I mean, I'm never happy that, someone gets fired necessarily, but I think it's a change that just shows that the organization is not messing around. They want results. And I also think you're right that they want Monty to be back to where he was, and they truly believe that he can get there. Now, I like how much Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton have really backed him in the media. And I think this also relieves a bit of pressure from both Dobesh and Monty, and not so much Fowler, because now they need to find him a new goalie coach. But to say that, listen, we are going to change the coach and this contract stuff, all that stuff, but we are going to change the coach because we believe we can get you guys to that level. I think it does a lot in instilling confidence in them as well. So, look, I don't think it means that they're never going to try and trade Monty no matter what. I think it's just the next logical step before ultimately coming to that decision if they have to. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric,
what do you think, Jesse?
No, it's true. Well, I mean, Eric Ramon was with the team for 5 years, and the goaltenders did have some success under his tenure. That being said, we just need to look at it objectively. Like, for me, this signals, again, kind of like the Deneau trade, how we're coming out of the rebuild. We're starting to kind of prioritize that present over the future. And having followed for this team for many years, like yourself, Grant, I'm just so happy to see that when this team starts really getting competitive and really starts just putting a little bit more wood into that fire to start making it happen right now, because we know our team save percentage is below league average for this year. All three goalies combined, .879, not quite good enough. And I think sometimes it's important to be able to make those strategic decisions here. We saw he was having a lot of success, and this is definitely to prioritize Samuel Montembeault, which I love. Because in an ideal world, going in the playoffs, this is your starter with Dobeš. We're giving time for Fowler to, again, get a little bit more reps. We know his time is coming up quick, but at least for this season, that's totally the ideal situation. And this play is given that with that opportunity in mind. That being said, Grant, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, there could be a world, this is a little bit controversial, but I do see a world as well where potentially if Samuel Montembeault isn't able to figure it out, they're not going to wait too long after the Olympic break to bring Jacob Fowler up. And now in Marciano, this is somebody who Fowler and both Dobeš have experience with. So I think they're prioritizing that. That's why they're leaving Laval without a goalie coach. They know there's a world. If Samuel Montembeault doesn't figure it out, well, guess what? We're bringing Fowler up anyway to really play with. So I think it's important to make those strategic, pragmatic decisions. But I got to say, like, we love Jakub Dobeš. Mm-hmm. And the way that he's playing right now, even if Fowler's coming up to the team, it's a little bit of like, it's going to form like a 1A, 1B situation. And we know that Jacob Fowler is the heir apparent, but Jakub Dobeš isn't going to give the spot away super easy. And I've loved that from him right from the beginning. We know he showed up winning a bunch of games. Like, what a winner he was. This year, guess what? It's not always pretty. He finds a way to do it all the same. I think there's a lot to be said about that. For the end of the day, we're results driven. Dobeš is doing that for us, but obviously we want to support him in the best way possible and starting to prioritize that present, which I love.
16-5-3. You can't,
Yeah,
I like goalies that win, and Dobeš is doing that, right?
Yeah.
I think they might call Fowler up again. Now, are they not going to get? Did Gorton not address anything about having a goalie coach in Laval? Is he going to do both, or?
He said they're actively looking to replace Marciano in Laval, from what I remember.
Okay.
So it is a priority, and like I like that he talked about that. He's like, don't you worry, we got something coming for Fowler. So we'll have to wait and see who that is. But they're looking.
Well, I mean, I think that's the most important guy to be coaching right now is Fowler, and a little surprised that they didn't already have. Like, you almost wonder if there was something, there was a major disagreement, or to do this and not have a replacement, or it just seems a little odd to me, because Fowler is the future. I think that's the Canadians feel that, and I hope it's not too long that they go without a goalie coach. But if Monty still struggles, I've thrown it out there that maybe you look at even. There are a lot of goalie for goalie trades. Sometimes a change of scenery. We've already seen it this year with Skinner traded for Jerry. There's been pile of them through the years that, a goalie gets traded to another organization for another goalie. And quite often, at least one of them finds his game. And we've seen it with Skinner. I think he's 7-1 or something like that since being traded. There's like a team like Seattle, for instance. Decor's their number one, but Grubauer's a really good backup goalie. And if you offered Monty, I think Monty's more palatable as a backup on a team right now. You offered someone like Monty and a piece, maybe a team like Seattle would be interested in doing a swap like that. And then you just keep, because I think ideally the Habs wanted to keep Fowler down all year this year. They weren't planning on having to call him up. They weren't planning on Monty struggling and them having to do it. What are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
Yeah, definitely. That the idea was definitely to have Fowler and let him marinate for this year, and rightfully so. That being said, I had to take from the beginning of the year that Jacob Fowler is so good. he was going to make waves in Laval. It was just a matter of time before he started putting pressure. And if any of those goalies faltered, that he would get an opportunity. It was just that. We know the gravity that star players have. Jacob Fowler, like they see Jeff Gordon saying like they're really prioritizing his development so much. Like there's definitely a hierarchy, as you would know, Grant, in terms of prospects and the time that is put into them. And we know Jacob Fowler right now is really at the pinnacle right now in terms of the influence, the focus that they're putting on him. They quite literally view him as a Patrick Roy type of player, and rightfully so. You need to be thinking, how much practice, how much games is he getting? What's the best possible situation? Again, there's been tons of correlations with Ken Dry, Patrick Roy, Jacob Fowler, and they're completely right to really view it and really treat it in that type of way. Now, I'm still hoping that Monty figures this out. I've been a big believer in him, and we know that the save above expected stats, a lot of people are saying for a long time we're going to regress, and we're potentially seeing that. And we see by, again, Jacob Fowler, again, having the AHL goalie, but he's played such a huge factor in this game so far for the Montreal Canadiens. Like this year, again, having just a winning record, very much like Jakub Dobeš as well. That save percentage, hovering around that too, very respectable. I think Jacob Fowler, his tenure so far. So I don't think like he's tremendously far away. I hope that Samuel Montembeault can figure it out. That being said, right now, the writing's on the wall for Jakub Dobeš and Jacob Fowler to be taken over the net. The only question I think is, how soon is it before that becomes a reality? I want Samuel Montembeault to pull a rabbit out of his hat, but I could see that happening sooner than later. We're looking to get competitive now, Grant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I said 2 months ago, call it Fowler. And people say, well, you don't want to ruin him. Well, you don't, I find that Fowler has he's not the type of goalie that's ever going to be ruined. Like he's a confident young man, and as soon as he started to struggle a little bit, they sent him back down. So that's all you had to do. You didn't throw him to the wolves and say, well, he's starting 60 games the rest of the year, and then he completely shatters his confidence. Call him up, and when he starts to, he had a couple. He was letting in some short side goals and stuff. Sent him back down before, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't, as soon as there was a little bit of it looked like, well, maybe he's losing his confidence a little bit, back down. That's the great thing about a kid that's not waiver eligible. You can, he can come up and down 10 times if need be, right? Josh, what do you think? What do you think if Monty is not doing it, and they decide they want to call up Fowler, or do you think that they might consider trying to trade Monty? Do they put him on waivers? What do you think they would do with Montembeault in that instance?
Well, I think the benefit of this managerial team of Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton is I think they're considering everything. I think they've already thought about, well, what could we get for Monty in a trade? I think that's something they've probably discussed amongst themselves. Again, just speculation, but it almost surprised me if that wasn't something that they have at least thought about in terms of realistic outcomes. If we're talking in a world where Monty does struggle and Fowler does come up, I think it's more than just about the goalies. And you're talking roster constraints, because reminder, we're right at the limit of the roster space right now. And we have guys that can go. I think Blais has exceeded his time now, right? I don't think he's waiver exempt anymore. And so no. Joe Veleno as well. I don't know if he'd get claimed, but for the amount that Marty trusted him, a team might take a flyer who doesn't have a great, bottom six guy who can be deployed defensively. If he was on waivers, he might get claimed. And so, and you have to make room for guys like Laine and Newhook. And then, and if you want to make another trade, if you really barring any goalie decision, if you want to add some more offense or something, well, there's another name, right? And I know there's been talk about shipping out Struble to maybe make some room, and you can manage things by calling up and sending down Adam Engstrom if you need to play with the roster space. But I think if the decision is made to say, all right, it's Dobeš and Fowler's net, which I think it would probably take a lot to come to that, then yeah, I think you have to consider trading Monty, but I wouldn't be able to. It feels a bit rushed, right? Like the deadline, especially after the Olympic break, we're not going to have that big a sample to really test that on. So it wouldn't necessarily shock me if eventually a Monty trade came. I might, unless something unless the crap really hits the fan in the next little while, I think that's probably more likely to be an off-season type move. If that is the direction that they want to go, to just give the young guys the net next year, I feel like it would be rushed if a Monty trade happened this year. Then again, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, they don't do anything without a plan. So if they ended up making a trade like that, I would probably say, I bet you they've been planning this for months. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like anything could happen, but like Jesse, I don't know what you think about that. Like, I think a Monty trade before deadline would probably be tough to pull off. I don't really see that being a Habs-esque move right now.
Well, when his value is at a little bit lower too, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to go with 3 goalies again because, as you mentioned, Josh, with these injured players coming back, they're already stretched. They're going to lose. Well, they're going to have to try to send down either Laine or Blais here, right? And then when Newhook's back, probably the other guy. What do you think their next move is if they activate Laine? What are they going to do, Jesse? What do you think their move is?
We got to look near the bottom of the lineup again. Like we saw the writing on the wall for Veleno, for Brett, for Blais, for Beck, and again bringing these guys in. Objectively, our lineup is looking better than it was looking even a week or so ago, and it's just going to get more and more competitive as it goes on. I'm very interested to see what this lineup is looking like with Newhook back in, with Patrick Laine, having key guys rested, Cole Caulfield, Laine Hudson, Demidov, Dobson, all these guys that could potentially playing at the Olympics. They're not. I think this is going to put the Habs potentially at an advantage for the rest of the season here to really finish off strong. There's obviously going to be some very, very tough decisions because we're talking about a vet line, which is hard to touch, obviously with Deneau, Gallagher, Anderson, and then we saw kind of some good things as well starting to happen. I like how Bolduc was driving a lot. He's starting to come in his own, and he's getting some huge break. He's not coming out of the lineup. That's one thing we have to know, even in our bottom 6 right now. But again, we're going to have to find some ways, and we're not quite used with this with our Habs teams, right? It's like, okay, good vibes and positive culture, and if you're playing well, everybody gets to eat, and it's not going to be a chance. Even if you're playing well, are you playing better than that next guy? Because it's just going to become that competitive, that quick. That being said, I'm here for it because it's really what this Montreal Canadiens roster needs at this point. But literally everybody, whether vet or newer player, you're all going to be fighting for your spot.
You didn't answer my question. You kind of ran all around it there, Jesse.
So that bottom 6 is going to be tough. I don't think that you take out the vets. Anderson's not sitting. Gallagher's not sitting. Deneau is not sitting. So if we look at that bottom 6 line, we got Bolduc there, and then he's going to be playing with Evans. It's going to be tough, right? Like Evans, it's hard to see him potentially coming out of the line. It's some tough decisions to be made here. But you're quite literally like, I don't think it's Bolduc because I think he provides a lot of firepower. It's, isn't Evans potentially coming out of the lineup for a Newhook? I think like you're probably, if you're Kent Hughes, you're making that move.
Evans for Newhook?
Yeah.
Unless Galley, like I think in terms of merit, I think for me it has to be Galley. But like again, that vet presence, it just seems like he's relied upon so much, right? And like
so Texier, you guys are Texier guys, eh? You didn't even mention him as a possibility.
He's been producing since he's been here. He's been scoring at a heck of a clip, and we got him on a bargain. And for me, he's provided a spark on that top line. Josh asked me right from the beginning, he's like, do you think Texier will work or not? I said, based on what I saw, yes. This guy processes the game really quickly, and you just need to get the puck and facilitate with the other players. It's interesting because we're used to a player like Slav, like that prototype, being a big guy and taking up space and winning puck battles. We're showing if you play with that pace, it's more about the intent than the size. Very much in line with the Martin St. Louis team here. Texier knows his role. He's just playing really smartly. How long could he hold on to it? We'll see, but he's already been punching above his weight right now, and he's given me every reason just to see that continue, and that this isn't just a flash in the pan, which I'm surprised to see, but I'm excited at the same time.
Yeah, I think he's an option to take out. I mean, like, again, if you look at just the cap hit, $2.5 million next year, $1 million this year, like, yeah, objectively, like, it makes sense to take him out for like a Laine, right? You're just injecting, in theory, more offense, right? And Laine, and then Newhook. It's like, but then someone else still needs to come out. So, I mean, I really have trouble. And I think you saying Texier, Grant, I think is very fair. And I think that's probably what most fans would land on. And if I was forced to make a decision, I think it comes down to probably Gallagher and, yeah, maybe Texier. But like you said, Jesse, like I like the production I've seen. So it's not going to be easy. We're probably going to see a
it's
little
not easy.
carousel, right? It's going to be tough.
None of them are easy, and it's going to be tough. Like, Hughes is. If we're agonizing about it, can just imagine what Kent Hughes is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean,
bet she's losing hair off his head, stressing about
that's. I've said that one a couple of times. Yes,
Dang,
he's pulling his hairs out, all three of them. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up quickly here, guys. But I just again, we haven't really addressed who does Blais get sent down.
Blais first. That's my opinion. Blais first.
There's going to be injuries, though.
What's that?
And I think there's going to be injuries, though. Like with Kent Hughes, you're playing this like you're probably expecting like somebody's going to get injured by the time Newhook or Laine. So you don't have to make like that really tough decision. It's just somebody like Gallagher. Yeah, you can sit him. But the vibes in this locker room like are really important. I think someone's given that player, getting him on the ice, like he's deserved that. And there's like by merit, he should be the one sitting. But for the vibes in the locker room, it's like you don't treat a guy that sacrificed so much for the team. No. You don't put him up in the press box barring some sort of grievous, something probably other than even on the ice going on as well. It's just the nature of the situation right now for them. I think still providing a little bit of that offense and having a little bit of that presence on a very young team. And Gallagher's going to be important, but it's probably going to be affected by some injuries coming in. That's kind of how Kent Hughes is playing this. Yeah. We'll see if he's right.
Well, so you think that there's going to be an injury? Like if Laine is in the lineup tomorrow night, you think there's going to be an injury between now and tomorrow night?
We would see. I don't expect to see Laine in so quick. I think they're holding him out for a reason. I don't think that they're activating him right away because I don't think they want to put him on that top line because, again, our biggest thing is we can score goals. We're trying to defend against goals against. And Patrick Laine on the first line, we need to remember he's playing against the best opposition from the other team. If I'm looking at the analytics, I don't want to be putting somebody who looks like a defensive liability onto my first line there. So I think that they're holding him out for that reason. Once kind of things shake up from the Olympic break, I think that could serve as an effective reset for Patrick Laine and this team as well.
Now I wonder, this is an idea I saw someone float out there. I don't know what you think about this, Grant, but like I saw the idea of if Laine does get deployment with the first line, do you do some interesting stuff like Marty's done, even with the D pairings like last night, where you switch the deployment based on where the face-off is, right? Again, obviously it's pretty common, but like if you have your top line out there, do you deploy, like, let's say Texier is still in the lineup, or maybe you take Texier, I don't know, whoever you take out, doesn't matter. You deploy maybe Doc with Suzuki and Caulfield if it's an offensive zone face-off or a defensive zone face-off or someone else, and then you deploy Laine if it's an offensive zone face-off, right? So you could do that. You could still play Laine that like 10, 12 minutes a game that Marty's typically done, and then you kind of just give him the ideal minutes with ideal line mates while hopefully not sacrificing as much defensively as you would if he was just to play the entirety of his 5v5 minutes with that top line. You know, it's an interesting idea, but that's a lot of extra game management.
Personally, I think the narrative that Laine is just like a sieve defensively is a little overblown too. Last year he was on the ice for 3.1 goals against per 60, and the team's goals against average was 3.0. So once every 10 games he was on the ice more than the average player on the Habs. 1 goal every 10 games. I think his offense more than makes up for that. And playing with Suzuki and Caulfield, who's a lot better defensively than Bill Guerin thinks.
Yes.
I think that he can be okay with Suzuki as a center. And like you say, you can deploy him like in the offensive zone. He's in there for sure. Defensive zone, sure. Bring maybe bring Deneau out, or they've been doing that a fair bit where they'll have the two centers, right? Mm-hmm. Deneau's taking the draws anyway sometimes and have Suzuki and Caulfield and then they can switch up and stuff. That does make some sense. My thought, guys, and this will be the last, we're getting up over 47 minutes here. I think that what they'll do here is consider like a platoon type thing. All right. Instead of it being, well, that guy's out of lineup. Well, sit down with Galley, Texier, Bolduc, Laine, whoever else, Evans. Because I think Doc can play center too, right? And I find it a little redundant there's no size, there's no physicality at center with Evans, Danault, Kapanen, and Suzuki.
Mhm.
And for me, that's one thing that they need to address here. If they don't make a trade at the deadline, they can even Doc can play one of those bottom two center roles, and then they at least have some size and physicality in that spot. So I think, like, if Evans can come out every now and then, you put Doc in there and see how he looks at center in one of the third line, and have Danault as your fourth line center. I kind of like that 4 center group more than Evans and Danault on the bottom. But you go to those guys and you say, look, one night, we've got too many guys. We don't want any of you sitting out more than a game at a time. Gally, you're going to sit back-to-back games, rest you up. We love you, but back-to-backs, we're going to sit you out 2 or 3 times down the stretch here. Bolduc, you're going to sit out a couple of times. Texier, you're going to sit out a couple of times. Have 4 or 5 guys that kind of, so nobody's missing much action, and and may the best 12 win, and whoever's playing the best, if come playoff time, the best 12 play. What do you think of that? You think that Marty might look at it in that that way, Josh?
I like the idea, and come playoff time, you actually see teams kind of do that, like matchup specific. You send out certain guys in certain matchups. Like, I think it's an interesting precedent, and I actually think it. If you don't make any moves, if there are no injuries, I don't really think you have much of a choice. Like, just sitting guys who, by all accounts, deserve to be playing in the press box. Like, it's not great. And again, like, if that were to happen, then you get people saying, well, now they're rusty, or they're not playing consistent games at the same time, blah, blah, blah. But like, for example, for Gallagher, like, you could do that class. It was in the NBA one time, like DNP old, right? Like, you can just do that. And like people would be like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Like, or like managing injury management, you could hold them out of a game, like things like that. I think you could get away with. I mean, it's not too long ago people were wondering if he was going to just head on LTIR at some point, but he refuses to give up. And so, but for other guys like Evans, yeah, I mean, like, I like the idea of Doc down the middle. And again, with Danault there, it does make Evans feel a little more redundant, even though I am a massive Jake Evans fan, especially after last night. Always have been, always will be. I love those underdog stories, right? And look, a lot of these guys deserve to play. And, does that mean they push for a trade, whatever? Kent Hughes is going to deal with, play with the hand he's dealt. And look, I think if they have to do something, maybe, again, off-season stuff, I think there is a pressure to win now. But yeah, I don't know, Jesse. I think if we're talking platoon, I think that probably is a reasonable solution, and for a problem that has very few good solutions at hand.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the goalie situation of having a rotationist, making sure everybody's getting their reps in. And that could work with this Habs team because we know it's a team first mentality. We know the culture is really good. The guys are there playing. So where that maybe doesn't play so well in another team, you can get away with that with the Habs. That being said, I would like to say, Grant, like, do you think like this flux of players that we have, is there any world where Kent Hughes is some of these roster players? It almost seems like a package deal is coming with like a Struble and, another roster player and then a prospect and a pick. Do you believe, like, just given this, that this could have all been preparation leading up to the trade deadline where potentially, because I mean, we can do the platoon, but that only works for so long given how much we're paying these guys. We know Jeff Molson's already paying too much sometimes that he should be for some players. It's like, do you think that that's a world where that could become a possibility where maybe he was gearing up, this was all part of that plan leading up to that trade deadline?
Well, trading Struble doesn't solve the 15 forwards, 16 forwards that they've got, right? They're going to keep 7 defensemen. Like, if they trade Struble, they got to call up another one anyway, right? Like, and so that doesn't help solve this 16 forward dilemma that they're going to have when Newhook and Doc are back in the lineup. I think they're going to be buyers and sellers. I don't think they have a choice. They're going to have to sell some guys. And I believe that they're going to try to get a bigger, grittier bottom 6 guy, that maybe a center. I threw out the name Michael McCarron, which is kind of a an interesting one,
Oh.
but there'll be some people that I know he had a lot of bashers because, hey, typical. If you're not a star after your first round pick with the Habs, you get unpopular in a hurry.
Yes, very.
But they could really use a Michael McCarron type guy, center in that bottom line, that second in hits among all centers, 6'6", can fight. Really good penalty killer now. He's become a decent NHL player. I think they need that type. If they want to win a round in the playoffs this year, I know Kent Hughes said, oh, well, look, Washington beat us, but then they lost to Carolina, who's not that big and tough. And he kind of danced around it in that way. But I still think he has said in the past that he'd like to get more physical. And I think they're going to try to address that at the trade deadline. And you can probably package a couple of these guys. Like, you're not packaging the 12th, 13th forwards for a first line right winger to plug into the, with Suzuki and Caulfield. You'd have to obviously include a really good prospect and maybe a pick if you were to look to do something like that. But then, there's salary cap considerations. There's, but I think they're going to try to trade a couple of these guys, because I mean, with all the injuries, they traded for Deneau, they picked up Texier, and all of a sudden now there's too many bodies. So, and Kent Hughes isn't the type of guy that likes to lose guys on waivers for nothing, it seems like. So, well, guys, with that, I really appreciate you coming on. We didn't even really get into trade scenarios and stuff. We ran out of time. So what we're going to have to do is have you guys on again sometimes. That sound good?
Sounds awesome to me. I'd love it. This is a blast.
Yeah,
absolutely, it does.
Okay, sounds good then. Thanks for coming on so much, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Grant.
There you have it. First show with the Habs Digest team of Jesse and Josh. I hope you enjoyed it. They can certainly talk your ear off. They're good guys, good opinions. Hey, I thought it was fun. Kind of a decent balance there, right, between the three of us. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and they did. And hope to do it again soon with them. And I, as somebody has mentioned, I think they're gonna. We talked about it after, and they definitely want to try to get me on their YouTube channel as well. So, hey, good. Let's get to some comments here. With due respect, Laine doesn't back check. Hey, conservative lawyer. Sometimes he doesn't, but I think that's that's an unfair generalization. I mean, I can make a video, and I probably will, of just of that showing him back checking fairly hard. Like he's not the fastest player in the league, so it's going to look like he's lazy out there at times. In fact, he's in the bottom, just like a Matthew Tkachuk. He's one of the slower skaters in the league. So it's gonna look like he's not. And let's face it here, last year, he having been off a year and a half, he was not, and not being able to train last summer. Sorry about the video is a little choppy here. I might try to I can't change the resolution. When you're not in fantastic condition towards the end of shifts, you can you run out of stamina, right? But he has been he's been last summer was the first off season that he's got to train fully. Unfortunately, got injured again, but I think he's probably in some of the best shape that he's been in for the past few years, and he's looked good in practices. I hope that he comes in here, gets an opportunity with offensive players, because for whatever reasons he hasn't really gotten that a lot in his career. In part because you want to balance, he's been put on second lines because he can score goals. But Nick Suzuki may win the Selke Trophy this year, and why not have Patrick Laine playing with a guy that may win the trophy as the best defensive forward in the league? If you're worried about his defense, well, play him with the best defensive player on your team, right? So I don't know. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it happen. It looks like there's no word yet. I suppose if he was playing, maybe we'd know by now. Probably not, but I do look forward to him being back in the lineup, and hopefully, the line that he's been practicing on, playing with those two guys. Johnny Mars, crossover episode, so cool. Love both these channels. Good to see you collaborating. Yeah, it's as I said earlier, Red Green said it the best.
Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
I consider them my brothers, and I wish them all the best. We need pure goal scorers to complement our playmakers, since we got elite playmakers and passers like Suzuki, Demidov, Hage, Jarosky, and some others. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Absolutely, hockey. While I was playing that pre-taped interview or podcast with the Habs Digest boys, I put a note out to some NHL scouting friends and asked them, does the goalie coach typically have the say in who starts? And they all of them said yes, that indeed that the goalie coach has input into who starts each night. That was asked of me the other night, last night before. So just so you know, it's and I don't know if that. So were they at loggerheads? Was Eric Raymond saying, "Oh, you got to start Monty," and the coaching staff, like everybody else on the planet that's a Habs fan, saying, "No, I wouldn't start Monty. I'd be starting the other guy." Like, was there a meeting? I guess they have meetings all the time, right? There's meetings and the goalie coach is involved in it. And was there a meeting the other day after Dobish's win and saying the next morning and Raymond saying, "Well, Monty's got to start the next game," and the coaches all looking at each other and saying, "Is he insane?" So I don't know, just throwing that out there. But given that fact, and I thought it might be the opposite. I thought maybe it was up to that the coach usually made that decision. But I've never been in an NHL dressing room, and these guys are, all longtime NHL scouts, and they would know, and they all said that, yeah, the goalie coach has a say, and might even have the final say on who starts the games. Hey, they're the goalie experts, right? So I guess it makes sense. But if so I know I've been hard on Marty about starting Monty, blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, maybe it should have been Eric Raymond that I was harder on all this time. Who, by the way, and I mean, I've mentioned it before, but confirmed again, his reputation around the league wasn't great. Like I was told at the start of the year, I by an NHL contact that Eric Raymond is not considered to be a real good goalie coach. And hey, you got fired mid-season, so I don't think that was incorrect information. That certainly his reputation wasn't high in NHL circles, from what I was told. But in talking to this person, during that, while that podcast was playing, he said Marco Marciano is considered to be a very good goalie coach and has a sterling reputation. So that's good. That's a good thing. And I think the Habs made the right move at the end of the day, right? If we win round one at least this year, that's a win season. Even if we get out, even if we lose round two, I think is what you're trying to say. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think the best. That's why I think they got to go for it and try to fill a couple of holes here. If they're at the point where they're contenders, they're only 6 points out of first in the East. They could win the East. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So, and I also think that they have one of the best farm systems in the league, like the best prospect cupboards. Their under 25 talent is the envy of the league, along with Anaheim, I believe. So they can afford, and they have all their picks, future picks and stuff. It's not like they're like some teams that traded their first forever, only have a couple of picks in the top 90 in the next couple drafts. The Habs have picks in every round. So I think they're at the point that the rebuild's over, the retool's over. Now they can sell some players because they have extra players, right? But I think they need to be buyers, like go for it. Pick up a veteran right defenseman, big, physical. Pick up a bottom six, either center or winger, or maybe one of each. If they can get a top six player to plug in there, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, at least explore the possibility, and go for it this year, because for a team that's the youngest in the league, and this youth, besides like Caulfield and Suzuki going to the final, but anyone under 24, they don't have, they have either zero NHL playoff experience or 5 games of NHL playoff experience. I think it's tantamount that they get as much NHL playoff experience as possible. There's not a better thing for their development. So, hey, if they can add a couple of pieces here and compete for the Eastern Conference, I think they can. Hey, nothing better for their development than that. So, yeah, I'm of the opinion that they go for it this year, that they have the assets, the extra assets. They're not mortgaging the future by trading a young prospect and a draft pick. I don't think so, because there's just so much young talent otherwise, A lot of opportunity to benefit in the standings tonight. We need some big guys to lose. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those nights, but don't worry about the other ones. Take care of your own house, and you know, they'll take care of things themselves. So I didn't say that very smoothly. I think you know what I mean. This guy here, he won big games. Beat Colorado a few times too, back when they were the Rockies. That would be Ivan Cornway. What's he doing at Logs End? Well, he was buying wide plank flooring is what he was doing. Quyon, Quebec. Check it out on the map, folks. Quyon. It's Pontiac. Lads from the Pontiac started up this business. It's fantastic. The nicest flooring that you're going to come across. I guarantee it. Go to their website. Do me a favor. Go to Logs End's website, okay? logsend.com. Check it out. I think you'll be quite impressed. And if you contact them, tell them the Grant from HabsCast sent you, and they will look after you. Texier is good at short distance passes, but we haven't really seen him doing cross-ice passes through traffic. Yeah, I mean, I was a little critical on Texier there. Clearly, Jesse likes him quite a bit, and I just think that there's an upgrade with Laine. I like Montreal has 3 forwards with that have averaged over 30 assists a game for their career, and those 3 forwards are Laine, Caulfield, and Suzuki. The 3 players with the highest goals per game average on the Canadians are Caulfield, Laine, and Suzuki. Best goal scorers, best playmakers. Now that's not including a Demi, obviously, because he doesn't even have a year's experience. So we'll add him to the mix too, as far as the playmakers go. But you get my point. Anyone that's played at least one NHL season, they're the only 3 over 30 assists a season, and also the most goals per game of any Montreal forwards. Put them together. One of them's a Selke candidate, trophy candidate, right? So if you're worried about Laine's defense, put him with the Selke guy. Does that not make sense? I know that's like rudimentary thinking to a certain degree, but I mean, what I all just stated is facts. So why not? Why not give it a shot? I want to see it. You got an $8.75 million contract guy, and he hasn't played on your first line yet. Well, typically, guy with the highest salary among your forwards should get a look on your first line at some point. Do you not think? I think so. Da Vinci says Laine on the power play one makes it too predictable, as he does not move around much at all. Everyone knows the puck is going there, and it snuffs out Caulfield. Well, at the end of the year, Da Vinci in the playoffs, it wasn't working. So I can't disagree with you with that, saying that if you just look back at the playoff and the end of the year. But there was something wrong with Laine at the end of the year. His shot wasn't quite what it was before he got that injury. And hopefully it's back at this point, because when he scored 11 goals in his first 10 games, you cannot say that the power play was too predictable, right? I mean, you know what Ovi's going to do over there on the left, but, you know, greatest goal scorer of all time, predictable, maybe, but if you can't stop it, it doesn't matter, right? And Laine's like the second best at it, and one of the best releases of all time from that. Like, there's Brett Hull, there's Ovi, there's, you know, there's 3 or 4 in the discussion, and Laine is one of them. So, yeah, there is a certain amount of predictability there, but Patrick Laine led all players by, I mean, like, by this much in power play goals per 60 last year. So, you know, I think you have to try him on the first power play, and get a playmaker on the second unit, which would be Demi. Caulfield over in the bumper. That's not ideal for him, but he can still score from there. But Caulfield moves all over, you know. Maybe they can. The other thing too, right? It's not an impossibility to get Laine to move a bit more, right? Not just keep him stationary over there all the time. Move him around a little more. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility either. Have him switch with Caulfield at times. And Laine is a good passer. And on the power play too, he can make, when he's not stationary along those boards, and giving him the puck and trying to get it back to Hudson. And that to me was the most predictable thing. When he got the puck along the left wall, trying to get it, you knew that he would try that backhand pass to Hudson, and it got intercepted. It seemed like every time. So, anyways, I what you're saying isn't incorrect, but at the same time, Laine is arguably the second best power play scorer of the past decade in the NHL, and Caulfield is not. So it's an upgrade on Caulfield on the left wall scoring, and you still got Caulfield who can still score some goals too. Maybe he'll score a couple less on the power play, but Laine's going to score more than a couple to make up for that, I think. Scoy George, I don't even stay up for West Coast. I pass out. Yeah, there you go. Eh? I hear you. I think I got a. Did I see a monetary contribution there? Let me just scan through. Oh, there we go. I got a toonie from Sheldon Hughes. Thank you, Sheldon. You are. I appreciate how consistent you are with the with those contributions. It really is. It's welcome. Thank you. I'm up to 1,888. That might be 1,890 now for the month of January. My goal is to break $2,000 in earnings here. Only 2 days to go after today, so hopefully we can reach that mark before the end of the month. It'll be my first time earning $2,000 on YouTube. Hey, it's a start, right? But 2 months ago, if you'd have said, "Oh yeah, Grant, you'll hit 2,000 in a month in earnings on YouTube," I would not have believed it. So very very encouraging, and thank you to everyone who's, this month especially, people have been super generous, and I truly appreciate it. Robert Allen said they're caught with Monty's mega contract. Monty's got one more year left after this. at 3.15 million. So for a guy who's been the starter the last 2 years and was third in goals above expected last year alone, to be making less than the average salary in the NHL, it's not a mega contract at all, Robert. In fact, it's actually it's more than fair. The fact that the guy who has been Montreal starter and is still basically playing half the games to be making less than the average NHL salary, like it's a third of what Pricer was making, or even almost a quarter. So I don't find it to be a mega salary at all. Mega versus performance. Well, hey, yeah. Monty had a double groin injury last year. It can slow down a goalie in his prep. There you go. The only reason I'm sad about this collab is because I won't have 2 separate podcasts to watch before the game tonight now. Well, yeah, I guess there can always be a dark side to something or whatever. Hey, I will be podcasting after the game, so right. So there's that. The question I have about Laine on power play 1, would it impact the Slav Suzuki Caulfield triangle that produced a lot of tic-tac-toe goals from Slav this year? Yeah, well, then the other possibility is that you move Bolduc up to the first power play, put Demi with Laine on the second, try to get it going. Again, my big thing here is that if Laine's on the second power play, who gets him the puck, right? If Demi is on there with him, then it can be Demidov. So I don't know. There's a lot of different possibilities. I want him on the power play, and if he's on the first power play, it helps the second power play because somebody comes off that can actually make plays that I think is missing on the second power play, and they can replace Gallagher. If he's on the second power play, replacing Gallagher, that's good too. So either way, like I'm not going to die on the hill that he has to be on the first power play, but I just think that the second best power play guy in the league statistically, or top 3, should be in should be on the first power play. We should trade for Wallstedt. Why? Yeah, but why does Minnesota deal the best young goalie in the league, right? What they need is a second line center, and if they trade Wallstedt, it will be to get a second line center. So who, Habs have been rumored forever to be after a second line center. So I don't know. They don't have it. They don't have the piece that Minnesota, would be looking for. I mean, you could trade Kapanen, and then they've got a hole. They got a hole at second line center, right? I don't know. Doc hasn't been healthy enough for Minnesota to pawn that. I don't think either. Give up on their tremendous young goalie for a guy who may get injured again. You never know. We don't want Grubauer. I don't think it would cost a hell of a lot for Grubauer. 918 save percentage. I'd sure like that over a 968 save percentage. Yeah, well, like Dicey Man saying there, Ovi does absolutely nothing on the power play. He moves less than Laine does. Moves to a spot and waits and shoots. Yeah, absolutely. Marciano moving to the big club should tell you what's going to happen with Fowler, no? He can get Marciano's undivided attention, Laval. Well, I guess. I mean, he's not. The thing is, he's not with Laval now. And Jeff says that they're actively seeking a goalie coach for Laval. So I don't think the NHL guys typically also coach the Laval guys. I hope they can and they do, but I don't know that that's the protocol. I still can't see the Wild trading Wallstedt unless it's for a stud forward D-man. Yeah, really, eh? I agree. It's going to be, I don't think it'll be for a D-man. They just traded for that. What they want is a top 2 center. And Montreal doesn't have that, at least not one that's ready. They're looking for an NHL ready top 2 center. Well, the only one close like that could fill that role on the Habs right now is Kapanen, and then you trade Kapanen, then who's your second line center? Unless you think Doc can do it, but I don't know. Doc can't win faceoffs any regularity, and he's not playing on the. He's not taking faceoffs and playing center right now, so I think that the thought is that Doc's going to be, for the foreseeable future, anyways, a winger for the Habs. I'm just trying to find a little something here, and for some reason, I'm not able to do it. Okay. Game logs 24-25. I'm just looking up line A here. Curious to see last year what he did power play wise. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8. He had 8 power play goals in his first 9 games. I don't know why I thought it was 11. But yeah. And from game 35 to 43, he scored 4 power play goals in 8 games, which is fantastic as well. Like that's 40 over 41 over an 82 game span. So Da Vinci, it's not true that he didn't score on the power play after the first month. In fact, 3 months in, he had 4 goals, power play goals in 8 games. So it was just at the end of the season there, the last month, that when he came back from that injury, I don't know what it was, but he wasn't right. And, the shot wasn't there. and it was affecting him. And all I know is that for his career, other than that, the last 10 games of last season, he's been effective on the power play. So I'll go with his career arc more so than his last 10 games and first 5 of this year, being what you can expect to see from Laine when it comes to power play. The goalie coach in Laval should be Fowler's former coach from Boston. Yeah. I'd rather send down Veleno than Blais because Blais will get claimed. I don't know. I'm not 6 and 1/2 or dozen the other. Like it's they're both going to be on waivers before the end of the year, so I don't think it really matters one way or the other. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Blais not playing, so he's been on waivers twice already this year. I don't know that he gets claimed. Maybe Veleno gets claimed. Somebody wants someone that can take some face-offs. Veleno's been good on face-offs this year and penalty kill. It could be a team that wants that. Veleno hasn't been in the minors the last 2 years. Blais has. So I don't know that it's necessarily true that Blais get claimed before Veleno. That's up in the air as far as I'm concerned. Is it just me, or does Monty's face look like he's carrying a few extra pounds? I think that's just the way he's got a double chin type thing, and that doesn't always necessarily mean that's just the way his body shape more than anything. I think makes it look like the rest of his body should be chubby, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. He's always had that, has he not? Kind of the double chin thing going. We should trade Galley and Anderson to dump salary to go for someone else. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, here's a new Stanley Cup solstice. Hi, Greg. Can Laine go down to Laval for a conditioning stint like Monty did earlier this month? I don't see them doing that. $8.75 million deal down. I think when you activate a guy, he hasn't been activated, right? He'd have to be activated and then not play for. Pretty sure that's how it works. Before you can go down for a conditioning stint. I may be wrong. Blais would be picked up. You don't want Detroit getting him. Oh, yes. Sammy Blais. Look out. Come back to haunt you, that career 35-goal scorer. I don't know why so many people are worried about Sammy Blais. It's always a good day for hockey with Grant McCagg, spoken like a true red-green fan. There you go, hey. Thanks, Jeff. Remember, keep your stick on the ice. I sort of have the red-green goatee going there, too. Maybe I should get a red flannel shirt out there every now and then. Talk a bit like red-green. There were a couple of games in a row he didn't play good, so I'm not sure how much that was his injury hurting. Jarosky was back. He only missed a game or two. Pickford's still out. But Jarosky back. Didn't get any points yesterday, but nice to see him back in the lineup. For sure. So I hope, again, I hope folks Enjoyed that podcast. Two different generation views on some things with players on this show. Yeah. My respect, Grant. Hey, Canadian? Canachien? That's a cool name. Canadog. Thank you. Haven't noticed you posting on here before. Appreciate you tuning in. I hope you can come back. They can fit a lot of words into a minute for sure. Yeah. They're better at it than I am. They always have plenty of spunk. Yeah, well, like I said, they could get Adderall as sponsors, I'm sure. Not that they would take it, but nice to see the collab, boys. Yeah. Thanks, Newman. Robertson. Yeah, let's keep it realistic, boys. They would be asking for like a Slav or a Demi for Robertson or something ridiculously high. So, Dallas is going for it. They're not trading Robertson for prospects. I don't think they're trading him at all. Just like, when McTavish wasn't signed, Habs don't worry, he'll sign. I'd be surprised if Robertson doesn't sign. How about promoting Slav back to line one? Well, I mean, that's been bandied about, but when you say Cappy, defensively responsible, Suzuki is defensively responsible, and Demi, playmaker, Suzuki, playmaker, Caulfield, 30 assist guy, might have 40 this year, 35. Same thing, right? I think the reason why you don't put Slap back to line one right now is because he kind of blossomed on that second line. And yeah, the last couple of games have been a little quiet, but I don't know. I think the most important thing is the blossoming of Demi and Cap and Slav. And I wouldn't mess with that just yet. But not saying that it's not a possibility. And we brought it up on here, frankly, before. To be frankly, I don't give a damn. Absolutely no need for Laine to become a bottom six player. There's enough of those, a lot less players with his offensive skills, very few. Yeah, I'd like to see him back in the top six. Last year, he was in the top six to start, playing with Doc, who was not playing like a number two center, it's safe to say, at the start of the year. Like, he was terrible. I think he was minus 25 in his first 30 games or something like that. And yeah. Hey, if you take Demi off of power play one and put him on power play two with Laine, then I don't mind it. But I don't think that you put Laine on power play two without Demidov being on there. However, the fact of the matter still remains that the best power play goal scorer is Patrick Laine, and quite typically, your best power play goal scorer is on the top power play and getting 90 seconds as opposed to 30, which seems to be the case. And yes, 100% biggest improvement for power play 2 would be Galley off it. And yeah. Yeah, I pointed this out a few times. The Defensive game of Laine is vastly over-exaggerated. Every game, 10 games, he causes one more goal than the team on average. I mean, come on. That's what the stats say, friends. And that was playing with Newhook and Doc, who were basically a minus per game when he was put with those two, and they actually improved with Laine on their line when it came to goals against. So Robertson would look awesome. Yeah. An affordable and someone that makes great sense in the two position would be Robert Thomas. Now the question, what are you willing to give for him? Same goes for Robertson and Wallstead. Yeah, exactly. Da Vinci, it's pretty annoying that it doesn't matter what I say if it's Da Vinci. Well, V to C, you I think you get more airtime on. I think I might talk more about your you certainly post more than anybody else. You get plenty of airtime on here. I wouldn't be complaining about not getting any attention, my friend. Paul Cormier, new member. Hey. Thanks, Paul. Welcome, newest YouTube member. I appreciate that. Yeah, Da Vinci, a famous painter. Oh, yeah. Start lining against the Jets next week. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, against his old team there, team that drafted him. Aaron Amadeus. Here is my email. Grant at HabsCast.ca. I just put it on there. You can contact me there. Matthew, Olivia would be a good fit. Is Rick Springhetti on here? His daughter's name is Olivia. Is that who you're speaking of? Agree with Grant. Lots of teams would want Veleno as the 13th that can replace a third or fourth line center in case of injury. Yeah. I almost think he might be more willing to be he might get picked up on waivers more than Blais. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but great talk with Josh and Jesse, Grant. I was earlier today, my friend got to leave early, unfortunately. Okay. Newhook would be decent trade bait and make room for bigger players. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure that Newhook will be traded. People get attached to players way too quick. Well, there's that too. All right, folks. Bada boom. Better make an appearance tonight. Maybe Le Tigre too. Oh, okay. No, Michel Bergeron won't be on the post-game show tonight. Sorry, folks. Jordan Kyrou, not a fit. I don't think. Everyone says we'll be surprised with Laine first line healthy and will be great. Everyone will be very surprised. Well, I hope so. I certainly hope so. All right. Apologies if I didn't get to everybody here. I think this is a fairly new Mike Merksick. You could go to Laval and develop. We're so deep on defense right now. It is time to develop. Pickford, yeah. Pickford's at least a year away, at least. And there's no spot at the moment. Like, Reinbacher's going to be in the lineup before Pickford. That's a given. Pickford might make it all the way to the Memorial. Not sure how much that leaves for a trip to Laval. Yeah. We'll see. Medicine Hat fills the net, but Prince Albert keeps beating them. They might not even win their division this year. Prince Albert's actually ahead of them. And typically teams that score lots of goals, they get stifled at playoff time. You could go, yeah. I'm on the side about being buyers. Ottawa and Toronto are good examples. Teams that traded picks and prospects year on year and peaked. No prospect coming, cup contention sketchy. Right on. All right, folks. I hope you can join me tonight. Good players don't mean good coaches. Oh, Carey Price. You know, Carey Price wouldn't be a good goalie coach. He's not. That's not. Very few Hall of Famers are end up being coaches. You know, Patty Roy has, I guess, been an exception. Although he hasn't won anything or come close to winning anything at the NHL level yet. But typically, you can't teach great. Like, if you're great, how do you teach that, right? You're either great or you're not. It's Price would not be. Why would he have any interest? Times have changed too, right? Like, goalies from 30 years ago became goalie coaches. A lot of them, like the best ones, are the mediocre ones that were mediocre NHL goalies. Like, did Ken Dryden become a goalie coach, or Marty Brodeur, Dominic Hasek, who the greatest, they didn't become goalie coaches. Even Patty was not a goalie coach. He's a head coach. But they don't need to. Carey Price is making $10 million a year. He doesn't need. You think he wants to be a freaking goalie coach? No. Pick up some more diamonds this summer, Mr. Bobrov. I don't know why Nick Bobrov gets most of the credit for the scouting. Marty Lapointe's the guy that's been there. Before Nick Bobrov arrived, he was already, drafting some really good players like Caulfield, like Kapanen, like there was a bunch of them, Dobish, on and on. Like, they're equally as influential in who gets picked. And I just, I see, very rarely do I see praise for Marty Lapointe when it comes to scouting. But it's, if there is praise on any Habs scout, it seems to always be Bobrov. And I don't, like, it didn't take a genius to draft Ivan Demidov 5th overall, right? Like, I can guarantee you that Marty Lapointe also had Ivan Demidov ranked 5th overall on his list. I had him too, Like, would I have passed on Ivan Demidov at 5 in the draft? No. Montreal must improve their defense. Their offense is already top 3 in the league. Get Pettico from St. Louis to play with Hudson. Jarosky is gold. Looking forward to Nordique's reunion tonight. Quebec Saint-Law. Hi, everybody. Laine didn't have a real chance with top talent. He played the most with Newhook and Anderson. Yeah, exactly. Get Macaroon as the 4th line center. Hey, FIFA fo fum. Yes, we're on the same page. What's Laine got left on his contract? Just rest of this year. Not much. Sitting pretty for the future. Florian, Reinbacher, Engstrom, Fowler, Pickford, Hage, Thorpe, etc. Papanicus. Goes on and on and on, folks. Well, at this rate, we may not get over the 2,000 mark. After all, things have been a little quiet on the contribution end towards the end of this month. Hopefully tonight people are a little more inclined to contribute a bit. Tooney's more than enough, folks. If you can spare it. Grant, would you trade Monty and Beck to Vancouver for Minnesota's first round pick? Stemco is now out for the season. Let Fowler and Dovish run the net. I don't think Vancouver wants to improve their goaltending. Stanley Cup solstice. They're in tank mode, right? Why would they trade for a goalie that might help them win may not, but you know where I'm coming from. I don't think they have an issue with Demko being out for the year. Now they can tank naturally. They're going for the top pick now, so they're in rebuild. They're not gonna trade their first round pick. Absolutely not. So don't see that happening from V to C. It's all kind of backwards. Well, hey, you come up, you use a freaking handle like that, expect what else does V to C remind you of other than Da Vinci? Hey? I mean, I did call you venereal disease air conditioner at one point, and I didn't think you liked that one too much. That's the closest. Would you prefer venereal disease air conditioner, or Da Vinci? Because it's one or the other. Because I'm not going to say V, whatever you call that, lowercase dash, da, lowercase dash, C. It just takes too long. Many seem to think if Laine is going to play a game before the break, it may be against Winnipeg. I don't know. Would be better if Laine was on one side shooting a one-timer and Demi on the other side with a one-timer. Except he doesn't one-time it. Drive me crazy. Frankly, thanks for the collaboration show, Grant. Thanks for the info and entertainment. See you tonight. Okay, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. See you tonight, Grant. Okay, Ken. Johnny, see you tonight, Grant. Hit the likes. Yes, please, hit the likes. I'm going to wrap this up before 2 hours. Oh, there you go. And I got a toonie. So, okay, hit the $4 mark. There'll be good rocking tonight. I think I might go out to the pub, have a beer, $4 beer at Chuck's Roadhouse. Get ready for the game. Hughes will not make a trade just to make a trade. He will if they can get a fit for the future and give up prospects and drafts. Yeah. Yes, Richard. I have been mentioning that, and this is a new. Thank you for contributing. His slap shot was off because he was hurt. I do believe that, and I think he will regain that shot if he has the shot back. Look out. And you don't think Richard doesn't think they should make a trade right now either. Well, isn't Bobrov responsible for the European scouting? Well, he's not the only European scout. No, they have European scouts. He gets over there now and then, but the guys that are in Europe are the ones responsible for European scouting. He oversees along with Marty. Again, if you want to give them all the credit for taking Demidov at number 5 when we all would have taken Demidov at number 5, fine. Same with Zurowski dropping to the second round. That was a no-brainer. I'm positive that Marty had him ranked in the first round too. I know lots of NHL guys that thought he was a top 20 pick. So, again, you can say that it was all Bobrov, but I'm pretty sure there were others in the organization that thought the same. Papanicus 6'5", there's your checking center. Yep. Will Papanicus ever make the club? Hard to say, but I think he will. Oh, geez, we were up to 2:01. I went over 2 minutes after all. Monty, Vancouver would guarantee they finished 32nd. Yeah. He's got 8 wins. That's probably more than any Vancouver goalie this year. We could trade him with St. Louis or Cali and give him a chance to tank and drunk first overall. Yeah, there you go. Do the Laine video. Yeah, I'll have to. If I do, it'll be up on my Patreon page because they'll freaking flag me here. Yeah, I'll probably do it. Bob speaks the language. Very important. What? When you get up to the draft board, you have to say Shanosky, or they don't, or they won't come. They'll refuse. They'll say no. Me no draft. Me no go you because you not say my name in Russian. I don't think it matters whether you. I don't quite understand. So, because Bob Ross speaks Russian, that's the only reason the Canadians picked Demidov at 5 overall, even though every team in the league would have picked him at 5 overall. Again, I don't understand your point. Sent you an email, Grant. Okay, thank you. Go with a hot Dovish down the stretch and call up Fowler. We'll see. Is Liam back yet? Not yet. Yeah. Marty Lapointe has contacts all over North America, all over Europe, maybe even in Russia too. Like, what are the Russian gems that Nick Bobrov has picked? Like, Zurowski was a I don't know. Everyone I know had him ranked in the top 30. So for him to go 34, like, do you? That wasn't, you know, oh, genius Nick Bobrov. Same with Demidov at 5. That was, he dropped to 5. But other than that, name the Russians, like Makar Kanin. Is he fantastic prospect? What about Radkov, the goalie? Is he tearing it up? He already got traded in the queue. Volokin, well, we'll see. He plays on a team that gives up about 2 shots from the slot a game. Stats look good, but we'll see if he ever makes it in the NHL. But like, I'm trying to think of all the Nick Bobrov speaking Russian has led to the Canadians getting a bounty full of Russian prospects in the draft that nobody else could have got. I just, isn't Bobrov the son of a KHL manager or owner team? Yeah. But again, how is it, like, what are the, name the Russians that he got that no one was aware of, that, his connections have led to, anyway, Bobrov's done a fine job, and I praise him all the time. I just think that it's Marty Lapointe doesn't get any praise. It's all, Bobrov, when, picking Demidov at 5th overall was a freaking no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer. Matter if you had Bobrov on the staff. Everybody would pick Demidov 5th overall. Anyway, the genius is Columbus for not taking Demidov. Fire him then. Yeah, well, okay. But whatever you do, guys, don't praise the Marty Lapointe. It's only Bobrov. All right, I get it. Bobrov speaks Russian, Bobrov's dad, so we can only praise Bobrov. Okay, all right. Demidov was complicated come overseas, but Habs solved this. Yeah, okay, folks. You're missing my point here, but that's fine. I've done nothing but praise Bobrov all the time, but I am saying that, he used to get criticized all the time for, and I defended it. He has evolved as a scout for sure, man. Absolutely. He's better than he used to be. But I defended his prior record before too. So what I like about Bobrov, like, I wouldn't want just Bobrov to be I'm really glad that it's a dual system there, because Marty's the guy, the eye test guy. Nick's the guy that with all the contacts and talks to everybody and gets the background info, but you still need to scout the guy and get the and they work so well together. Like, I just wish people would, instead of just Bobrov, it's Lapointe and Bobrov, because they're both the chief scouts, and hey, I'm in the scouting business, and I know Marty Lapointe, and I know Nick Bobrov, and I know if you ask around the NHL who's more well respected, it's probably Marty Lapointe. All right, and there's a reason for that. But again, everybody just wants to heap praise on Nick Bobrov for the scouting. Like, there's a damn good chance that Marty saw a lot of the good picks that they've made over the past 5 years more than Nick, because Nick's also kind of involved in management. Nick goes overseas a lot. Nick's, Marty's the one that's at the friggin' rinks all the time, scouting these guys. So I'm not saying like, Joe, can you just stop? Fuck. Grant, what good goalies are in the pipeline? I like Cornway. I like Cornway, and I like what's his name? Quentin Miller. I think they're decent. The very least, Lapointe isn't helping Iresman in Detroit. Yeah. Yeah. Let's leave it at that. Drafting and scouting is a team effort. And yeah, for sure. And Danny Asham with his Winnipeg question that he's got to always get in there. Can Winnipeg make the wild card this year, Grant? Don't think so. I think they're out this year, Danny. Too many bad off-season acquisitions. Taves, I wish he'd have worked out, but he didn't. And it's too bad, Anyway, Habs have a great scouting staff. I'm also going to give a shout out to Serge Boisvert, who's a great, great man. He does a good job. Donald Aldette, these guys have been around for a lot of years and evolved as scouts too. That, not saying that people hate on Lapointe. All I'm saying is that he doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough credit. Bobrov gets all the credit, and it's wrong. It's a team effort. Scouting, you don't have team meetings and, one guy's up there saying, well, this is who we're drafting. Okay. You get everybody's input, the regionals, scouts. And again, this has come from somebody with experience and with, all sorts of. I spoke to 3 scouts today to get that info on goalie. Do goalie coaches have a say in which goalie starts? And friends with NHL scouts and an NHL scout myself. So I'll just say it one more time. I wish people would give a little more credit to Marty Lapointe and not just Bobrov for the scouting that they've done the last 4 years, because Marty is just as influential, just as responsible for the draft, the drafting that Montreal has done over the past 4 years since the new regime came in. And we'll just leave it at that if you don't mind. Texier could be a 20-goal scorer. Yeah. You never know. Gurianov could have been a 20-goal scorer. Kind of reminds me a bit of Denny Gurianov when he first came up. Remember, it was, ooh, look at this guy. Get a little bit of a Denny Gurianov vibe with Alex Texier, but we'll see. I'd be really curious to see if and when, down the stretch and at playoff time, if Alex Texier is doing much. I have a little bit of doubt about that, but I guess I ended up staying on here a little longer, eh? Jets have to be bigger surprise to me this season than the Habs are. Yeah. Do I think a few of our coaches are fading down the stretch? Hey, Jack. Fading? I don't know if the coaches, if you can really put it on the coaches, really. Grant, who is the one player, but sorry, just back for a sec, but I think I know what you're saying. Like, get a new voice in there. Yeah, may not be a bad thing, Jack. I like the fact, and as I was saying, the reputation that Marco has around the league is very good. The feedback I've been getting from my NHL contacts is that this is a good move for the Canadians to get Marciano up to the big club. So that's good. Grant, who's the one player you were pounding the table for but were overruled by management during your tenure as a pro scout? I wasn't afforded the opportunity to pound the table. I was part-time scout, so I had Kuznetsov, like when they took Tenorti, moved up to take Tenorti. The highest guys I had on my draft list were Kuznetsov and Toffoli, but they weren't following my draft ranking. I was just a part-timer. So Demidov will morph into much more of a scorer as he matures. I think so. Jarosky, his buddy, will see to that. There you go. See all the back and forth on players in the Habs rebuild series. Yeah, that's true. Okay, folks, went 15 minutes longer here. Got a little too heavy into the Bobrov talk. I just, again, I think people are just don't give enough credit. It's not so much Bobrov, it's the point is my point, that folks don't acknowledge the job that he does as an equal to Bobrov and the scouting staff, because they're co-scouting directors. And personally, I think I don't think it's right. So I just wanted to. It's more about love for Marty than any. I think Bobrov gets too much credit when it should be evenly distributed between both guys. And I mean, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton have some input on that too, right? Like, especially top guys that are picked. The GMs will go see first round potential guys and watch video too and give their input. Why not? The more, the more the merrier. And you see in those scouting, the glimpses that we do see into the, the European guys are weighing in. There's other regional scouts and stuff watching video on the Russian guys and stuff too, and weighing in on. It's not just Nick's opinion on a Russian or a European, or far from it. It's a collective effort. Like Trevor used to, for a European prospect, Trevor would rely on his European scouts quite heavily. And same with the U.S. player. If the U.S. guy was pounding the table for a guy and was adamant, they draft him, because he's the one that saw the guy live as much as possible and stuff. But yeah, Bobrov's evolved as a scout. I think he's much better than he was in New York, and some of that credit goes to, I think, working with Marty too, and the two of them just working so well together. The librarian and the old time hockey player kind of combination there, right? And it's good. So okay, all good content. Grant, be safe, and see you all the Nordiques game. Anton Stasny fan club. There you go. All right, folks. Are we good? Everybody good? venereal disease air conditioner. We on everything okay there, buddy? Joe, you understand why I didn't want to? I don't like to argue. Just go back and forth arguing all the time. All right, guys. Great show. Loved having the lads on. They were great. Person turquoise waving speech. Okay. On that note, I couldn't have said it better myself. See you tonight, I hope. All right. Bye for now.